Aorist passive indicative. Let's look at the elements of the aorist passive. Time is past. This is a past tense. The stem that's used is aorist. Its transformative is theta eta. It does have an augment. The voice is passive. And the endings are secondary. The aspect is undefined. He was seen. This is the sixth principal part. With the formation of the aorist passive, we begin first of all with an aorist stem. In this case, we're using lu, so you know lu never changes. So we have an aorist stem. We have an augment. It's a past tense and will have an augment. In this case, the aorist stem lu begins with a consonant, so the augment is an epsilon. It has a transformative, theta eta, and a secondary ending. Aleuthane. I was loosed. So let's look at the formation of the aorist passive indicative for luo. Remember, we're going to begin with an aorist stem all the way down. And since that aorist stem begins with a consonant, lambda, it is preceded by an epsilon for the augment. The transformative is theta eta. The endings are secondary endings, and we get nu, sigma, but the third singular has no ending. And we've seen this before. So the only one that's different, theta eta, is going to be its ending because it does not have an ending. Once again, we have men te for the first and second plural, and san for the ending of the third person plural. So we get first person singular, aleuthane, I was loosed. Second person, aleuthes, with that sigma, you were loosed. And the third person, because it doesn't have an ending, is aleuthe, he, she, it was loosed. The first person plural, eleuthemen, we were loosed. Eleuthete, second person plural, you all were loosed. And the third person plural, eleuthesan, they were loosed. Stems ending in a stop. We've seen this once before. Because the tense formative for the aorist passive starts with a theta, stems ending with labials and velars aspirate in predictable ways. One way to look at this is that the final stem consonant becomes aspirated, takes on an H from the theta. Labial ba, pa, changed to phi. Blepo becomes a blephthane. Velars, kappa and gamma, change to chi. Dioko becomes a diophthane. Dentals, tau, delta, and theta drop off. And we get, for patho, a pasthane. Aorist passive contract verbs. Final stem vowels expand before the tense formative theta in the same way as before the sigma. Alpha and epsilon expand to eta. Agapao expands to agapethein. Poieo expands to epoiethein. The omicron expands to an omega. Plerao expands to eplerothein. The second aorist passive. There's only one passive form, but tense formatives may lose their initial consonant. Rather than the tense formative theta eta, only the eta is expressed. So we have graphes goes to egraphes rather than the expected egraphes. The difference between imperfect passive and aorist passive. The imperfect passive example, chemes haluametha. The imperfect passive uses the present stem and primary middle endings. We were being loosed. Continuous. Aorist passive, chemes haluthemen. The aorist passive uses the aorist stem and secondary active endings. We were loosed. Undefined. Imperfect passive again, ha'achlas ablepeta. The crowd was being seen. The aorist passive, ha'achlas ablepthein. The crowd was seen. Undefined. Aorist passive examples. Chemes eluthemen hupautu. We were loosed by him. Ha'achlas eluthe hupautes. The crowd was loosed by her. Notice that theta eta on eluthe does not have an ending. There is no ending for the third person singular. Ta daimonion exeblethe hupautes. The demon was cast out by her. Future passive indicative. The future passive. The time is future. The stem is aorist. The tense formative is theta eta sigma. Thais. Aorist passive, theta eta, and future sigma equals theta eta sigma. You can think of it this way to remember when you look at it that this is a passive future. No augment. The voice is passive. It's the only thing that it is. The endings are primary middle. The aspect is undefined. He will be seen. Principal part. This is not a principal part. Formation of future passive vαλλω. We're going to start with the aorist stem, which is ble. And then we're going to put the tense formative in, theta eta sigma, and primary middle endings, in this case, omai, first person singular. And we get ble thesomai, I will be cast. Let's look at how the future passive is formed in the indicative of luo. The stem is lu, all the way down. There is no augment, as this is not a past tense. The tense formative is theta, eta, sigma, all the way down. The endings are primary, middle, omai, a, etai, ametha, este, ontai. And so we get, for the first person singular, luthesomai, I will be loosed. Second person singular, luthese, you will be loosed. Third person singular, luthesetai, he, she, it will be loosed. First person plural, luthesametha, we will be loosed. Second person plural, lutheseste, you all will be loosed. And the third person plural, luthesantai, they will be loosed. The future passive indicative of vαλλω, let's look at it the way it's put together. And the structure is easier for this one to say. The reason we were choosing vαλλω is it's easier to see because the aorist is different from the present. So we're going to put down the stem blay. The tense formative is thes. And the endings, we're going to use the active middle endings, omai, a, etai, ametha, esta, ontai. And so for the first person singular, we get blethesomai, I will be cast. Second person singular, blethese, you will be cast. Third person singular, blethesetai, he, she, it will be classed. First person plural, blethesametha, we will be cast. Second person plural, bletheseste, you all will be cast. And the third person plural, blethesantai, they will be cast. The second future passive. There's only one future passive form. Grammarians use the term second future to refer to verbs that do not express the theta in the passive. For these verbs, the tense formative is eta sigma rather than theta eta sigma. It's still identifiable as a passive with a combination of eta sigma and primary middle endings. It's very common with liquids. Future active and passive examples. Future active. Hemes lusamen auton. We will loose him. Future passive with the first aorist luo. Hemes luthesametha hupautu. We will be loosed by him. Future passive second aorist ek vαλλω. Ta daimonion ek blethesetai hupautes. The demon will be cast out by her. Formation of verbs. The present has no augment. The stem is present, no tense formative, and primary active and middle passive endings. Future, augment, no. Stem, future. Tense formative, sigma. And the endings, primary, active, and middle. The imperfect does have an augment, The stem is present. Its tense formative, it does not have one. And its type of endings is secondary, active, and middle passive. The second aorist has an augment, uses the aorist stem, no tense formative, and its endings are secondary, active, and middle. The first aorist has an augment, the stem is aorist, and the tense formative is sigma alpha. Endings are secondary, active, and middle. The aorist passive does have an augment. The stem is aorist. The tense formative is theta eta, and it takes secondary, active endings. The future passive, the augment, no, it does not have one. Stem is aorist. Tense formative is theta eta sigma, and it takes primary, middle endings. Let's look at our vocabulary. Chyma, blood, chyma. Hekastas, each or every, hekastas. Himation, garment or cloak, himation. Horos, mountain or hill, horos. Hupago, I depart, hupago. Phobeomai, I fear, phobeomai. Chairo, I rejoice, chairo. Ago, I lead, bring, or arrest, ago.